Hi, my name's Edwina, and this is a book I wrote called Good to Hear. And this cute little snail will be the storyteller, and later in the story you'll see the reason why. Let's get started. Hi, my name is Clarky, and I live in Sydney, Australia. I'm going to tell you a story about a very clever man called Graham Clark. Graham grew up in a town called Camden, where he lived with his parents, his sister Robin, and his brother Bruce. Graham's dad was a pharmacist, and his mum was an artist. When Graham was a boy, he would visit his dad at the pharmacy. He would watch his dad help make people better by dispensing medicine. But Graham's dad didn't hear very well and often couldn't understand patients' requests. This is a hearing trumpet. People use this to help them hear better, but it didn't work very well. It made Graham think what it must be like if you live in a world without sound. It would mean you could not listen to conversations, learn how to speak, and hear music. And you wouldn't be able to hear dogs barking, cats meowing, birds singing, waves crashing, and planes flying high in the sky. Graham was only 10 years old when he decided he wanted to fix ears and help deaf people hear. When Graham finished school, he went to university to become an ear, nose and throat doctor. He saw lots of patients with hearing problems. Graham studied hard to learn as much as he could about ears and why some ears don't work. Now that's what I call a mountain of books. Graham began to work with his team to create a device that will allow people to hear. One day, Graham was sitting on a beach, relaxing, and he spotted a shell. Graham saw that the shell was shaped the same way he needed for his hearing device to work. Graham told the professors of his idea and how the shell-shaped device could help people hear, but they laughed and didn't believe him. His wife Margaret and his family cheered on Graham and his team to keep going with the invention. He kept working hard to create his device. And finally, Graham's cochlear implant was finished and ready to be tested to see if deaf people could hear and understand speech. His first patient was a man called Rod Saunders. Graham and his team implanted Rod with the cochlear. Do you think it's going to work? The cochlear implant was switched on. Graham and his team's discovery allowed Rod to hear words spoken to him. Hooray! Eureka! It had worked! He cried with tears of joy. Graham finally created a device that would allow people who have no hearing and babies born deaf to hear. They could now listen to conversations, learn how to speak, and hear music. And they could also hear dogs barking, cats meowing, birds singing, waves crashing, and planes flying high in the sky. Thousands of stories have been created from Graham's invention. Good to hear stories from deaf people around the world receiving cochlear implants and being able to hear. And Graham's work hasn't stopped with his invention of the cochlear implants. Graham and his team are currently working on fixing blind people to see and people with spinal injuries to walk. The Graham Clark Foundation has been created to help poor deaf children around the world access cochlear implants. In this photo we have the Queen of England, Graham, and one of his recipients. And this is me and all of the people that have helped me hear and speak. And this is my cochlear implants. It comes in different colours, and this is the chocolate brown because it matches my hair. And this is not the end. More stories to come. This is Professor Graham Clark, and did you know that almost 1 million people in 123 countries have cochlear implants, including 160,000 children? Graham is noted for saying, all children should have the opportunity to hear their own parents' voices. I hope you enjoyed this story, and thank you for listening.